So, I'd like you guys to take everything I'm about to say here with a grain of salt. Because, truth be told, I'm not really the biggest puzzle guy, nor do I find it particularly fun or enjoyable to be under pressure or in a prolonged state of stress. So, I guess you could say that I'm just a touch jaded here, which is a shame because if I would have done this sooner, say, I don't know, maybe halfway through these games or something like that, I would have told you that I actually really like the fact that they are canon in the timeline alongside the rest of the movies, taking place between the first and second films. In the first game, you play as Detective Tapp, who has been nursed back to health from his injuries in order to be punished for his obsession regarding the capture of the Jigsaw killer. And in the second, after his death, you play as his son Michael, who is forced to uncover the true circumstances leading up to his death, um, but also kind of face the ripple effect that it has on everyone and everything around him. And in terms of gameplay, I would have told you that this was pretty much everything I would have expected a Saw game to be. Because after all, when you really stop and break it down, what is the core concept of Saw overall, other than escaping traps and moving from room to room, utilizing whatever tools you can get your hands on in a killer be killed sort of scenario. As far as the gameplay mechanics themselves, these games are pretty basic. The first one's got some janky stuff here and there, but it's not really anything I don't think you could get past with enough time to get used to it. I would say the biggest mark against it is its combat system, being that it requires three buttons to actually pull off. The first button you have to hold to even enter into combat mode, and then you have to choose one of two buttons uh, based on whether you want a light or heavy attack with whatever weapon you have in your current possession. And this is something that I was hoping would get ironed out in the sequel, and to its credit, it did. It replaced it with a more modern feeling um, QuickTime event type thing. However, in doing so, for whatever reason, they also made the choice to make every other gameplay mechanic that there was nothing wrong with needlessly more complicated. Um, that and somehow, some way, the sequel manages to feel 100 times more janky and gross to play than the original. Whether it is, I guess you would refer to them as boss encounters that don't quite function the way that you think they should, or that the game itself tells you that it will, or a very glitched cutscene that will render the game completely unplayable if you don't skip it in time. I don't know. I just feel like the only redeemable qualities that these games have are the plots, which sucks because I'm sure that the vast majority of the Saw fan base probably doesn't even know that these exist. And those that do certainly aren't going to suffer through the entire game just to get through to the end. And they probably would have been better off as movies, to be completely honest. Speaking of them, I mean, I know we technically already have a cop and son sort of storyline with Donnie Wahlberg's character and everything. But if Saw X has taught us anything, it's that it's never too late to go back in the timeline to tell us a really solid story. Obviously, these games are fairly old now. I don't think that's going to happen at all anytime soon, if ever. But hey, a guy can dream, right? So, yeah, that's going to wrap this double headed review up for us, guys. And as always, until next time, we'll see you later.